Welcome back to NBA Today as we bring in our reporter, Nick Friedell, who is in South Beach. And Nick, we've heard this confidence, this swagger from Jimmy, and it trickles on down throughout this organization. Why is it that they're able to maintain this level of confidence heading into this Game 6?
Because they believe no matter the obstacles in their way, Malika, they're going to find a way to win. Let me paint the picture for you after the game last night. Jimmy Butler's walking to the podium. He's eating popcorn. He's saying all we have to do is find a way to win one game. We clean up our defense. They hope to get Gabe Vincent back. They believe that the steps are in place for them to come home here in Miami and get Game 6. Bam Adebayo said, nobody's believed in us all year. Why would we stop believing in ourselves now? Eric Spoelstra then upped that and said, hey, boo doesn't matter. We believe in what we've built. It doesn't transfer from game to game as far as they beat us by 30 in these last two. The Heat believe in what they've accomplished over the last month plus. And Malika, the key is Jimmy Butler still believes he can be Jimmy Butler when they need him. Kevin Love said it. All we need is for Jimmy Butler to be himself in Game 6, and we feel like we've got it under control.
The belief will carry them through. That's what the Heat are saying. Nick Friedell, thank you so very much. But the reason, Nick, that we're even talking about all of this is because all of a sudden the Celtics have shown up in a way, Tim Bontemps, that we have expected them to all season long. So what has changed for them over these last two games?
Well, two things, Malika. They've played with a lot more force on defense, and they're getting up a lot more threes on offense. And as you guys saw watching that Game 5 last night, it was jarring from the opening tip just how hard the Boston Celtics are playing on defense. It was such a drastic difference from the way this team looked early in the series, especially in that Game 3 blowout loss down here in Miami. And that really translated to the other end of the court, where over the last two games, the Boston Celtics have made 17 more threes than the Heat and have gotten up 29 more three-point attempts. And that is something Joe Mazzulla has talked about, Malika, all season long. The importance of winning the three-point attempt battle over the course of a game and over the course of a series is something he's harped on time and time again. The Celtics have played smaller and quicker than they did last season. And you saw over these past two games, the Celtics get back to the team they look like over the first couple months of the season when they went 21-5 and they were blitzing the NBA. And now they have one more road game here in Miami where if they can win, it'll be the first time they have won 5 road games in a row, I should say, in elimination situations. So a remarkable situation for the Celtics. If they can pull it off, put themselves in a situation where they can have Game 7 on their home court on Monday night.
And that's what's so very unique about this, Tim Bontemps. Thank you so much for spending some time with us here on NBA Today. I also think I want to borrow one of those necklaces that's behind you. Appreciate it, my friend. So Tim mentioned it. Look how good the Boston Celtics are when their backs are against the wall. This is what brings out the best in them. This is when this group comes together and gets it done. So I want to bring our senior writer, Zach Lowe, back into the conversation. Zach, what's going to be the key here in this Game 6? Because I am already so excited.
I'm very excited. I can't wait. Look, you mentioned the Celtics just now. Play with focus the entire game. You backs against the wall. All that stuff seems to bring out the best in them. They've got to keep playing with that. No losing focus on offense for 4 minutes, 5 minutes here or there. For the Heat, the Celtics seem to catch them a little off guard in Game 5, switching a lot, even putting some of their guards and wings on Bam in the post and then digging down, getting turnovers. Jimmy Butler being one pass away from a post-up like that and standing at the three-point arc is not going to get it done. The Heat have to figure out the spacing now that they know those switches are coming, because here's the bigger plot point. Miami's offense is stuck in mud right now. It's been stuck in mud whenever Jimmy Butler can't really just get going and beat the Celtics up one-on-one. They're going to have to find paths to points, and some of that is Jimmy, some of that is Bam, some of that is countering what Boston has been doing on defense. This is a dogfight now, and look, the Heat are right back where they were in the play-in almost. They have 2 chances to win 1 game, and they barely got out of the play-in. They had both those games at home, though. If they lose tomorrow, obviously they got to go to Boston.
And, of course, the other question is Gabe Vincent. Will we see him back for this Game 6? Zach Lowe, thank you so very much. We're talking about who has a realistic shot. Then we also need to know who is going to be doing the work. So Jalen Rose, Austin Rivers, the most important Celtics player, in your opinion, is who? Let's go 3-1 here.
So how about I take 3 and you go 2? and we'll decide on one. I'll say 3 is this guy right here. He's so invested in team, he got his hair green. Marcus Smart for me, 3.
I'm going Jalen Brown, man, number 2. Bigger the game, I need the stars to play. I need Jalen Brown to play well.
Agreed.
Last game, he was efficient. Like you said, it's his first game that he shot 50% or above. They need more from that from Jalen Brown.
And then we're going to master the obvious right here. Jason Tatum. Austin just said it. You need your best players to perform the best, just like the screen should be performing its best at the right time, but it's not.
JT.
Jason Tatum.
Jason Tatum, the one, the only. Jalen Rose, thank you so very much. Back here with Ramona Shelburne. Ramona, I'm curious to you, when you're talking about the Celtics, what's their thought process going into this elimination game?
I mean, look, Jason Tatum told me after that game 4, right, after the game 3, where they go into game 4, that they just needed to relax. Nobody thought they were going to come back from down 3-0, and they kind of took the pressure off themselves. And this is a team that has been great at playing when the pressure is not on them. When Jason Tatum had his best game with the Boston Celtics in Game 6 against the Philadelphia 76ers, when he had his worst game, right? When his back was firmly against the wall. And so they went out and played golf before Game 4. Now, they didn't have time in between Games 4 and 5. But this is a team, all of a sudden, there's no pressure on them because they're still down. But the pressure now shifts all onto the Miami Heat. And I think you can see the way that these two teams are responding. Nobody wants to be in front. Nobody wants that pressure in this series.
So the Celtics, they are the slight favorites to win Game 6 in Miami and force a Game 7 back in Boston. Caesars Sportsbook has the line at 2.5 points, but the Heat are still the favorites to win the series, which is interesting. Let's talk about this a little bit more and bring in the host of the Daily Wager, Tyler Fulghum. So Tyler, let's start right there. Big Perk wants to win some money. So help us decipher here. What were the odds makers saying when they set that line for Game 6?
Yeah, what up, Perk, by the way, my guy as well. Love you, big fella. They're saying that Boston was the better team all season long. Like, when sportsbooks make lines, they really don't care what Perk, RJ, Stephen A say. They don't care. They look at the numbers. They look at stats from every game throughout the season, and they plug that formula in. And we know Boston was the better team throughout the regular season, so they trust that math. And even though this game's in South Beach, Boston had the better net rating, the better offense, the better defense. They knocked down triples at a higher rate. They were just the better team. So they're going to trust that math, try and set a line that gets 50% of the people to take the Heat and 50% of the people to take the Celtics. And that's what they think this is, making Boston a 2.5-point favorite. That's a low number after we saw Boston just win by 20 plus in each of the last 2 games. But Miami catching points at home, I think is going to be attractive to a lot of people who remember that Miami has excelled in the underdog role. So they're trying to get a 50-50 straddle, take that juice as their profit, and then build these big buildings out here in the desert.
So maybe Vegas doesn't care what Perk has to say, but I know you and I do, Tyler. So what do you think? Did the Celtics cover?
No. So look,
I like Miami.
Oh, you talking to me or Tyler?
I'm talking to you, Big Perk.
No,
but
the Celtics don't cover, and Tyler know how I get down. I'm going Celtics. Heat first half. That's a dead boat lock. Since they're going to be the underdogs, Heat at home, they will be up in the first half because they're winning the game. But I like fast money.
Okay, so where's the value, Tyler?
Yeah, I like that bet for Perk. I love it. I love how he, doesn't have the patience to wait the full 48 minutes, 24 minutes and out that first half. And I tend to agree that Miami's probably going to start fast. That home crowd is going to be all kinds of jacked up. We know they may be a little late arriving at sometimes, but I think most of the people will be in the arena for this game since it's potentially the last of the year. They'll have Bam, they'll have Jimmy, they'll have them jacked up. We'll see if Gabe Vincent's playing, but I like that first half bet. I do think I like Miami for the game to win. You can play them on the money line around plus 120. They know this is their last best shot in front of their home crowd to advance to the NBA Finals. So I think Miami still wins this series despite what Boston has done the last 2 games. So I'll take them plus the points in Game 6, and I like Perk's bet having them plus the points in the first half.
All right, how about the value here, Tyler, in the Eastern Conference Finals, Larry Bird MVP?
Yeah, right now, if you think the Celtics are going to come back and win, you have to play Jason Tatum because he's been the straw that stirs the drink. I know Marcus Smart's had some great games. It was Derek White last night. But when it comes to the 2 stars, Tatum's been the guy. On the Miami side, if you think Miami's going to win this series, which I do, it's of course Jimmy Butler. I mean, Jimmy Butler has been that dog this entire postseason, and I have to imagine in Game 6, if me and Perk are right, if they build a first-half lead, if they close it out and win, it's not going to be because Bam goes for 30 or 40. It's not going to be because Kyle Lowry goes for 30 or 40. It's going to be because Jimmy Butler goes for 30 or 40, throws in 7 or 8 assists, 9 or 10 rebounds, and has 4 or 5 steals as well. So depending on which team you like, the value to me lies in the superstar, Jason Tatum or Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, but Tyler, if Jimmy has a great Game 6, one could argue that Caleb Martin has been the Miami Heat best player in this Eastern Conference. What if I wanted to put a hot C note on him to win the MVP of the Eastern Conference?
All right, Perk, I love the way that you're thinking because Caleb Martin's going to turn that C note into about, $1,600, $1,700. That's great return on investment. But we got to remember that it's human beings that are voting on this award, and human beings are flawed. So even though Caleb Martin, relative to expectation, has probably been better than what we thought, most of the voters are going to say, who's the dog, who's the alpha on the winning team? Okay. And we know, without question on Miami, that's Jimmy Butler. But I love the way you're thinking, looking for that value on a long shot like Caleb Martin.
And we saw the blueprint in that, right? With Jamal Murray had an incredible series, but still, Nikola Jokic, the Western Conference MVP. All right, I have just one more before we go here, Tyler.
Great point.
The odds to win the title. I don't totally understand this. Even though the Heat are favored to win the East, the Celtics have better odds to win it all. Why is that?
Again, it's because the books and Vegas are trusting the math. It's because they look at Boston as a better team. And even though Miami has that 3-2 advantage, if Boston gets out, they are a much more significant threat to the Denver Nuggets in the eyes of the sportsbook than the Miami Heat, who are an 8 seed. Boston is a 2 seed. So I like Miami. Like I said, I would play Miami in that market. I would play Miami as a money line underdog in Game 6. I'm going to run it back and play Miami as a money line underdog in Game 7 if it goes back to Boston. I just trust that they'll close this out. We won't have our first ever NBA team down 0-3 in a series, win 4 in a row. But it's the math, not the eyeballs, Malika. It's the math that says Boston's the better team and a bigger threat to Denver.
So what Tyler told us is that basically Vegas goes off of analytics and not the eye test.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.